Every single time you start a creative project, whether it's a book, a business, really anything that matters to you, you're stepping onto a battlefield. So think of this as your field guide for that battle, based on Stephen Pressfield's Do the Work. It's basically a game plan to face, fight, and finally defeat the one enemy that always stands in your way.
And this quote right here, it just nails the core idea perfectly. The whole creative struggle can be boiled down to this one really powerful metaphor. You are the hero of your own story. You're the knight. But there's always a dragon you have to face. And it's a very real, very powerful dragon.
So let's get formally introduced to our big, bad enemy. Pressfield actually gives it a name. He calls it resistance. And what is it? It's that universal force that actively works to stop you from doing your most important work, from becoming the person you're really meant to be.
Now pay close attention to the language here. Resistance isn't just, a feeling of laziness or a little self-doubt. No. It's defined as an active, intelligent, and malign force. What does that mean? It means it's not passive. It's a cunning, tricky enemy with one single-minded goal: to see you fail. Its first big trick is that it's completely stealthy. You can't see it, you can't touch it, which makes it incredibly hard to fight. But you can absolutely feel it. It's that pushback, that negative energy you feel the second you sit down to do the work you know you need to do.
And oh boy, is it a master of disguise. Resistance will sound just like your own rational voice. It'll justify procrastination, whisper doubts in your ear, and cook up a million reasons why it's a better idea to start tomorrow. It is, like Pressfield says, always lying and always full of shit. Okay, this is a crucial point, and it can give you some much-needed breathing room. This whole battle, it's not personal. Resistance doesn't know your name, it doesn't care about your backstory. It's just an objective force of nature, like gravity. And once you get that, you can stop blaming yourself and actually start fighting it strategically.
And this is the real game changer. You can actually turn the dragon into your own personal compass, because resistance is an infallible guide. It always, without fail, points directly to the work that matters most for your soul. So the more fear you feel, the more you procrastinate, that's it. That is the thing you have to do.
So, we've met the enemy. We know what we're up against. Now, how in the world do we fight it? Let's take a look at our armory, because you might be surprised to find out that our greatest weapons are, well, not what you'd expect. Just look at this. Rational thought, something we value so much, is actually an enemy here, because it's what creates all the excuses. Our true allies? Being too stupid to know how hard it's going to be, being too stubborn to quit, and having this kind of blind faith that things will work out. Even friends and family, with the best intentions, can become enemies if they feed your resistance. If you take one thing away, let it be this. This is the single most important tactic. Don't prepare endlessly. Don't over-research. Don't wait around for the perfect moment, because it's never coming. The real enemy is that chattering brain that will talk you out of everything. So the most important thing you can do is just begin. Right now.
This quote from Gouda just captures that spirit perfectly, doesn't it? The second you truly commit, things just start to happen. The universe seems to respond. All sorts of unforeseen help just shows up out of nowhere. But none of that happens until you take that first bold step.
Okay, so you've started, you're in the thick of it, the project is actually moving along, and then bam, you hit it. The hardest part of the entire journey. The point where every single project faces its greatest test. Welcome to the belly of the beast. I bet you know this feeling. You're deep enough into the work that you've invested your time, your energy, your hope, but you're not far enough along to see the finish line. This is what Pressfield calls the big crash. And all of a sudden, the whole project seems impossible, you feel like a total fraud, and the urge to just quit is absolutely overwhelming. So how do you get through this? You have to understand the rules of the fight, and this slide is your map. First, you have to accept that the enemy is real and it is relentless. Its only goal is to kill your project. Second, you have to get that it's inside you. But, and this is so important, it is not you. You are not to blame for this voice. Your only option is to fight it. And finally, you have to remember that there's an equal and opposite force, what Pressfield calls assistance. It's a positive, helpful force that responds when you commit to creating. So, when you're in this dark place, resistance is going to give you two very simple tests. First, it's going to ask, how bad do you want it? And really, anything less than totally committed just means you're going to fail. The second question is, why do you want it?
And if your answer is for fame or for money or for your ego, that motivation will just crumble. The only answers that can sustain you are because it's fun or because I have no other choice.
You've done it. You survived the belly of the beast. You've wrestled with the problem and found your way through. But the dragon has one last, fierce defense up its sleeve. The final battle isn't about creating anymore. It's about releasing. It's all about shipping your work. This quote right here, it reveals what's truly at stake in this final moment. The last hurdle isn't really the fear of failure. It's the terror of our own potential. We are literally more afraid of what will happen if we succeed, if we let our own light shine, than if we just fail.
So what do you do? It comes down to one word: ship. It is the single act that defines a professional. You finish the work, you put it in a box, you send it out into the world. You hit publish, you launch. All that work you did is for nothing if you can't take this one final step.
And here's exactly why it's so terrifying. Shipping means exposure. You're putting yourself out there to be judged. You could fail. You could be totally humiliated. It takes an incredible amount of courage to stand on that ledge with nothing but thin air beneath you. But it's the only way forward.
So you did it. You fought the dragon, you survived the beast's belly, you shipped your work. So what's the reward? What do you actually get for winning this epic battle? Well, the act itself is the reward. You've brought something into the world that did not exist before you made it. That is a profound, almost sacred act of creation. You've got to take a moment and acknowledge the sheer magnitude of that achievement. But the true, lasting prize isn't really about the praise or the money you might get. It's the knowledge you carry with you from that point on. You faced the dragon once, and you won. And that means he will never have the same power over you again. You now know you can beat him. And what does a real pro do after a victory? They don't stop. After his first novel, Pressfield's mentor told him this exact thing. You celebrate for maybe a day, and then you get right back to work. Because this battle, it has to be fought anew every single day. So, I'm just gonna leave you with this question. You now have the field guide. You know the enemy, you know your allies, and you know the path through the battle. In a way, you've just slain one dragon by getting through this explainer. So, what's gonna be your next one?
Please do subscribe.